Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Capital to the Coast BNI. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a local small business success story from one of our 37 chapters stretching from the Triangle, which is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, all the way to New Bern and Jacksonville and Moorhead and points in between. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our goal each week in our chapter is to help our fellow members make money and introduce them to people we know so they can grow their business following the BNI line of givers gain. And our guest, our local small business success story this week is Matt Yablunosky with Retain Revenue. Matt is in Triangle Business Builders. They meet Thursdays at 8:15 a.m. at the Triangle Shooting Academy in Briar Creek. They have 45 members. So, folks, on a Thursday morning, if you're in the area, this is a group you definitely do want to meet. And Matt is my special guest today, folks, because this is show number 300. And Matt's been a good friend. I call him and I pick his brain, and he met me halfway between our places a couple weeks ago at a Chick-fil-A because I asked him, and that's the kind of friend he is. So there's nobody going to be the 300 guests here but you, Matt. So glad to have you.
Outstanding. Congratulations to you, Mike. That could put you in the Hall of Fame, right? 300?
I'm good.
The pitcher or the batter, I think
I'm
both
good.
ways.
Yep, I'm good. Yeah, it was. I went to Jim Bowdish. What did we end? I'm on 7 years now, probably with us, 6 years at least. And said, Jim, I want to start a show, but I don't know anybody. I have no technical skills, but more importantly, no interest to learn technical skills of all this, right? So he said, go see Amnon. I'm just like, who's Amnon? He goes, just shut up and call this number. And here we are at show number 300. So, no, so glad to have you on. Matt is the mentor coordinator in his chapter, and he holds the merchant services slash credit card seat in the chapter. Um, I've got many places for you to start, but I always like finding out for people in a particular industry, is there in your family tree, is there sales experience and or credit card experience, or was this just something that showed up to you one day?
That would be a no. And I think, like most career paths, they come out of necessity. Oftentimes, we don't plan for the future, but God puts you where you're needed, not always where you're wanted.
I
So
agree.
there's a lot of resiliency that came into where I am today.
I agree. So not only does Matt retain revenue, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but I like the background here because this is what you got to do, folks, to make things happen. You may have a small business, but are you out there telling people, hey, I'm open for business. Here's how I can help you. And you got to do a lot of cold calling. So Matt, so sales truly is in his blood. He worked nationally with MRN Radio for you NASCAR fans. That is the voice of NASCAR, Motor Racing Network Radio. He worked regionally with Tar Heel Sports Network and worked locally here in the Triangle with Curtis Media. Um, that's a hard racket, isn't it? I mean, just cold calling and just general hardcore traditional sales.
I take it probably as a badge of courage. And yes, I think there's a lot of bravado that goes into it, but I would say I've definitely been in the two most difficult business to business sales worlds there are. And that's just a fact. Hard mic drop,
Okay.
exit stage left. Local media, radio advertising, and credit card processing.
Yeah, the radio is interesting because I guess when you started, and I assume that when you started that conversations were easier to be had because radio was a player, and it's more difficult now because you got the internet, you got all the people doing their individual things.
Yes and no. Um, Media is media, and
Man,
nothing happens until someone listens to that radio station or watches that TV program long enough that they could stick around through a commercial break, somehow get motivated by that message from the advertiser to the point that they're willing to consider buying something. So there's a lot that goes into that. So on the sales end, it was a lot of heavy lifting because you were literally planting the seed of need in a very intangible, conceptual, discretionary expense to businesses that want to grow. And as challenging as that was at the period that I was in it, it's all the reasons I got into credit card processing. When the radio career came to an end
yes.
and there was a pivot that needed to occur in my career and my path, I thought, well, what if I could now provide a tangible, evidence-based, accountable service that businesses were already using? Local radio advertising, credit card processing. I was an agent of change in both.
Mhm.
Unlike radio advertising in the credit card processing world, you already have your incumbent. So I truly became a
Yeah.
change agent.
Yep.
We already have the service.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know you have the service.
Yeah.
What if you could upgrade the service to better rates, better service, and be better off? So it really went back to my athletic days where it was literally one against one. I'm going to give you a reason to upgrade beyond your current
Uh-huh.
service provider.
Okay.
Whereas back in the media world, whether it was nationally on 600 radio stations across the country or one powerful station in one market, it was the conceptual pre-sale. What if I could take this kind of message heard by these kind of people this many times for this amount of money? Would that help you achieve your growth?
The answer is yes,
Ideally.
if they process that.
Ideally. Right.
Okay. All right. So you've got national experience, regional experience, local experience. Your first day in radio was MRN, or is there's some before that, right?
It was the Tar Heel Sports Network.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
your first day, and you don't have to hang anybody out, but what kind of training did you get? And did they just say go? And your first day and first week was like what?
I've had great employers and great trainers and great leaders truly every step of the way. The advertising sales training back in the days at what was really the village companies of Chapel Hill, Jim Hevner and that operation with the Tar Heel Sports Network. That sales training was unlike anything you would ever receive. So it was great. And then ultimately worked my way up from operations, broadcast traffic, client entertainment, all that into the ad sales sponsorship world. So the training was phenomenal. I never felt like I was left alone. We had a great product to sell and great training to go with it. Motor Racing Network was a little bit different in very positive ways. And then there was nothing better than being at Curtis Media Group at the time I was there. I mean, the owner was right there every day. Our president, Phil Zachary, was the best in the business. We would literally start every Monday morning with 1 hour sales training.
Oh.
You're in there at 8:30, 40, 50 reps, and we're reading stories from Harvard Business Review on the true meaning of advertising at the national level, regional, local. So I was fortunate. I really had great leaders, great teachers, great trainers along the way that always held my back.
For Curtis Media, though, with so many salespeople, did they just say anybody call whoever they want, or did you find a niche for you?
It was a little structured. At the time I was there, I mean, Curtis Media Group is the single biggest local independent radio operator in a single market in America. And we had a lot of reps, had a lot of stations. So it was collaborative. If somebody wanted to take a run at a client they thought they could bring on, the client wasn't represented, go for it. You could represent any stations. I often find myself partnering up with a lot of reps at the other stations to really take as much money out of the market to bring in-house with Curtis because we believed enough in our product. We put together this outlet and this outlet and this outlet with Matt and all these other reps, that client's going to win. So it was really a teamwork more than anything else, even though we were one operator in one market.
When you first started in radio sales, when did things kind of start clicking and comfort level was better, you were getting better? When did you know it's like, okay, I can kind of do this. I think I can have some success.
Well, the clients tell you that. They tell you that with their spending.
They do.
Obviously. I really think it was at the tail end, whenever I saw that the market's contracting, I may not be around for the future. That's when I had some hard conversations with my clients, and I realized that my clients appreciated what I had done for them. And again, that very intangible, conceptual, discretionary way in what could have been a very commoditized type of sales process. But I think it was towards the end when I thought, man, I might need to be looking at some options here. That's when I realized I had made it because I realized how much my clients actually did value it.
Oh, okay.
And were willing to, help me in that next path.
Yeah. All right. So that you make the transition to retain revenue, for business owners, and most people don't deal with you because most of us don't own businesses with retail opportunities. So we use your services a lot at the restaurants we go to. But from a business owner standpoint, what's what's a couple things they need to really know about why you do what you do and who really needs you? I know many
Mhm.
people could use you,
Right.
but what?
Well, I am a little bit. I'm kind of like that unicorn, the enigma. Countless times when I'd be meeting with someone brand new for the first time, a
Mhm.
cold call. You have a name, a card. Who do you work for? I work for myself, which means I work for you. So what do? You hand them the card, and it says independent credit card processor. Well, what's an independent credit? I didn't know there was such a thing. An independent credit card processor. What's that? Well, that's me. Yeah, but I already got a credit card processor. Well, no, you have a bank. Well, no, you have a
Yeah,
software company.
yeah,
Who do you call? What's that person's name? Well,
yeah,
and then they realize, oh, so that's you. Yes, I'm
yeah.
the independent. So I have access to all this different stuff. The main value that I would emphasize to them is what if you could have everything that you like and everything that you don't have access to right?
Easy,
So it's kind
yes,
of
yeah.
like the Hippocratic Oath.
Mhm.
Not saying, in the credit card processing industry, we're a bunch of doctors, but what's the Hippocratic Oath? I shall utilize my knowledge, skills, and abilities for the best interest of my patient, my
Mhm.
client, while first doing no harm.
Ah,
So
okay.
usually if I'd sit down with somebody for the first time, all right, what do you like? What's working? What's not? What do you like about your current setup? If there are things you can improve upon and change, what would those look like? Okay, cool. We can keep everything that's working. And how about you actually have a real, honest to goodness rep who works
Mm.
for you with their cell number?
Yeah, because that's a massive business decision to change banks, credit card process, stuff like that, because
Can be.
it. Uh, I guess the assumption is, they'll take a few weeks and it can be disruptive. I
Yeah.
think by now it's not, but that's a big decision for a business owner to make.
It is. I mean, it's business to business sales. So the buying cycle is obviously a lot longer than if you're, coming in, make the electrician home call or a home purchase, perhaps that's a little different, but it's it's very lengthy. And the times where I've won business really, really quickly, be careful what comes too easy, right? Boy, that was about as much of a
Yeah,
layup. And then usually they're gone within
yeah.
2 months because they came in for all the wrong reasons. So it doesn't have to be that difficult. I mean, in real honesty, and I say this to all my prospective clients, I can get an application approved typically within 24 to 36 hours. And once I submit an application, they can be up and running within.
Wow. Okay.
So it's really about their motivation,
Yeah.
their interest level. I say it all the time. I'm an independent, so I'm not answering to any kind of corporate dictates or employer schedules. I will work as fast or as slow as any of my clients want. And that's what's really critical. So when I get a call from a
Yeah.
really good client and I got 6 locations, he's like, hey man, how fast can you get me up and running with a 7th store? Well, I can stop everything I'm doing right now and we can make it happen. Tell me about the 7th store.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I had my next question in the back of my head. Is all the transitional stuff done at night? All the computer, the back end stuff done? Let's say it's a restaurant because you've often
Right.
asked for pizza places. Does that happen at night so it doesn't disrupt their day or?
Yeah, you're not going to be intrusive. Restaurants and retail, just like any other type of industry, you know, they want to maximize the
Mm,
return as fast as possible with very little inconvenience. So we can work around obviously any of their kind of schedules. But restaurant and retail, that's only one small portion, truthfully, of my book of business.
mhm.
And it was interesting because during the pandemic and shutdown, I was right around that 10-year mark in the industry at that point. And I was down 6.5% year after year in terms of earnings in 2020.
Yeah.
And that was actually a very, very positive thing because if you really think about it, a lot of my folks would say, God, you were only down like 6%. Like everybody was staying at home, nobody was spending money. That's amazing. We thought you would have gotten crushed. Well, restaurant and retail obviously
Mhm.
was difficult, but my book of business, well, the chiropractor was still seeing patients.
Yeah.
People
Gotcha.
were still, sticking up their commodes with toilet tissue because everybody was home. So my plumbers were doing great. Man, these walls look nasty. Man, we could really use some good floors. So the contractor base was going
Oh,
great.
people
So
realized how ugly their house was when they had to
correct.
live in it.
So that was a real, real epiphany for me. Thank goodness I had a very, very balanced
Yeah.
book with a lot of different types of clients. And that still remains to this day.
Okay. Very interesting. Um, I'm assuming you've gotten calls on vacations, late at nights, weekends from clients, right?
Matt, how come every time I call you, you're out on a fishing pier? Well, because I own the company and I can be out on a fishing pier. But I am here for you. You notice I did answer that call. So
Yeah.
what can I do for you? Now that's interesting. So I think when you go back to how did you know that tipping point? Because every business owner has that tipping point of, man, I think I really made it. And there's several examples, but I think one that really sticks to mind. My wife's family had a wedding up in Cleveland. All right, we're talking a 7, 8, 9 hour drive.
Mhm.
Pull out of the driveway. And I'm on the phone with a client getting them set up while we're driving to Cleveland.
Yep.
I thought, wow, I did this exact same thing in year number 2 with a new restaurant whose point of sale was not operating the way they wanted. And that wasn't my role. That's not my point of sale. But I was able to help navigate that. She talked me almost halfway down to Emerald Isle on my vacation. And I thought, well, that's what it means when you're your own boss.
Yep.
Because when you're your own employer, who pays the salary? Well, if you're a real business owner, you know who signs those checks. You know who you work for.
Mhm.
You know your bosses call you all day long because your clients are your bosses.
Mhm.
And it was that mentality that really, really resonated with me. And it's really how I got into the credit card industry to begin with. I could have been any type of business owner in business to business services. That was my goal. I don't ever want to be in a position where my job security could be in jeopardy ever again.
Yep.
I won't allow that to happen. And the only way you can do that is to work for yourself. Well,
Yep.
if you really are a salesperson, if you're really in business, who do you work for? Who pays your salary? Well, your clients. Well, there you go. So go work for yourself and answer directly to your clients.
Yeah.
So while it's super scary,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at that point, we had a third child on the way, 2 unemployed parents, and soon to be 3 kids. During the
Perfect
summer of
timing, yeah.
2011, during the worst economic downturn
Yes.
of a generation. So while it was encouraging, like, well, just go work for yourself and you'll have all the security you ever want, because anybody that works for themselves truly knows they work for their clients.
Mhm.
So that's the plan. It was like Few Good Men. So that's the plan. You're
Yeah,
just going to get
that's-
Colonel
you just
Jessup
get-
on the stand,
Dan.
and he's going to say you ordered the code red. That's the plan. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's going to work. How are you going to do it? I have no idea. So I didn't know what the path was going
Where's
to be.
my bat?
Right. I had no idea what that industry
Yeah.
was going to be.
Yeah.
And then when the credit card processing industry came available and something I should look at, it came at the suggestion of one of my former clients.
All right.
And I never looked back.
All right. So we'll get to that in a second. I want to go back to the lady you talked to on the phone driving to your vacation destination who was not a client of yours.
She was a client of mine at that point.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And
But it would not have surprised me for you to take time on a call to talk to somebody who's not your client just because that's who you are. And people call and you help because you never know
correct.
what's going to happen after that phone
I
call.
brought on a great local auto repair shop one day. It was a referral from BNI, and made the presentation to the owner, to his financial guy. They didn't say yes. They didn't say no. They said, well, thank you. And they first questioned the savings. They're like, there's no way you can save that amount of money. Like, look at our numbers. I looked at your numbers. Would you like the Excel spreadsheet that I wrote? Because here it is. It's like 12 months of data. So the numbers are real.
Yeah.
You'll realize that once you're on board. And he said, chargebacks are a big thing. Like, customers are trying to always get away with free stuff, saying that we didn't, provide the product and service. Like, if that ever happened, how would you address it? And I said, well, here's how we'd address it. And 2 weeks later, he called me. He's like, I just got a chargeback. Not under your watch. I haven't hired you yet, but tell me exactly what you would do.
Okay.
And I walked him through what we would do, and he signed on.
As a traditional salesperson, which you've been for years, what's worse, the no or the we'll see answer? Or the / I'll get back to you?
Well, there's 3 outcomes. There's yes,
Mhm.
there's no.
Yeah.
An answer of yes is yes. We're going to buy it. Let's
Mhm.
go ahead and move this ahead. The answer of no is no, at least for now or for the time being. And then no answer is also an answer of no until proven otherwise.
Yes.
So as that sort of change agent, nobody wants to be in that no answer response. There's a delicate balance between continuing to push the agenda continuing to work towards that yes,
Mhm.
without truly being that pain in the ass salesman that just got commission breath
Yeah.
breathing down your neck. Hey, what's it going to take to put you in that car today?
Yeah.
So that just comes with experience. That's where you earn your chops. But truthfully, I've also found the ones that really measure once, measure twice,
Mhm.
and then cut the third time to finally bring you aboard. Those are probably some of the lastingest clients.
Mhm.
Or English there, sorry.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that really have the staying power because they've thought it all through. They've seen the benefit, they've voiced their concerns. The benefits now outweigh the concerns. Let's go.
Mhm.
So usually those are some of the best clients, the ones that don't say yes initially, but might take a little bit more.
But you follow up with them gently or just touch base with them gently,
Sure.
whereas others like, well, I guess I'll wait for him or her to call me back and then never touch base with them again.
Follow up is required. I mean,
Well, hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. Yes, but
when
not enough people do that.
so it's only effective when you're bringing new valuable information to the buyer.
Ooh, agreed. Yes.
Otherwise, what are we talking about here? You want to get paid, you want to bring me on, what has changed? That's just aggravating and annoying if you're a buyer.
Agreed.
Versus, hey, Mike, so I was thinking about what you said when we first chatted last week, and thanks again for that time. But you asked me point blank, like, what are my rates? Well, they could be as little as zero. I mean, you could pass the fees off to customers. You know what that's all about. There's ways to do it. Or, I would recommend a variable rate. You're probably going to be somewhere between this and this. Here's the benefit on being on a variable rate pricing mode. All right, we're going to have coffee one of these days. You had me at local. You had me at local because I'm doing, the big
Yeah.
namelessfaceless.com down in Silicon Valley, and you pointed that out. Wouldn't you rather support like a local person here? Because I did see all the stickers on the front door, shop local,
Oh, yeah.
buy here, spend
Yep.
here. Let's back that up and show a little reinforcement on
Yep.
the credit card processing hire. So you got me with that. And I thought, wait a minute, I have a number of clients that are in the same exact industry as this guy. All it takes is for me to run some reports, do some math after hours or on a weekend, and I'll know what his rates are probably.
Okay.
And I will have brought back to him, 3 other referral references. Hey,
Yeah.
I do business for 3 of your competitors
Yeah.
here in town. And generally, here's what they process and here's what the fees are. Just wanted to get back.
Call them. You know them? Call them. Now, your first tip of the show to young/newish salespeople on how to create or find that data point that is new information to have a reason to call back that potential future client.
Well, it probably just comes to good listening. Right?
Okay.
I mean, if you just ask the right questions and listen, you're going to know what the follow up's. I gave an example of the chargebacks with the auto repair guy. Gave the example of, what are your rates going to be? This is an outdoor equipment guy out in your bed. But in terms of advice, I thought I had it down to 3 keys to success, and I'd be glad to share those here quickly. To anybody that's thinking about getting into sales, it's not for everybody, obviously. But the 3 steps to success that hit me very early on, and I'm alliterative, so they all begin with the letter C. But the first step would be the competence. You got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to deliver the goods.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
I mean, outside of that, what are we doing? We're just talking. Everybody likes me. Here, sign here. Well, no. Can you deliver the goods? Do you have any real true competence in what you're doing? Now, in
Yeah,
the
'cause
credit
you
card processing world, well, how is that defined? There's no licensure, there's no certification, there's no ongoing training, there's no board standards, there's no continuing education. There's literally no barrier to entry in what I do, which is why, to some degree, it can be very difficult because everybody does it, but
Okay.
few do it well,
Mhm.
which goes to the competence. And the clients are going to know right away if you're just feeding them a sales pitch or if you're the real thing.
Yep.
So number one, you got to have that competence. But we know a lot of good, effective, smart people that are good at their craft and make no money. Because why? They don't have the other C, which is confidence.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're doing is one thing. Knowing you know what you're doing is completely different.
Yep.
If you have the knowledge, but then the confidence to know that you have the knowledge, if you've now got the ball, you're down by 3, your defense got you the turnover, It's 1st and 10 at the 25 with a chance to win the game. Being a good quarterback and having the skills is one thing. Knowing you're going to lead the team to victory,
you're there. Yep.
So competence, know what you're doing. Confidence, know you know what you're doing, will help make you successful, but they won't make you rich. Because you need the third C. And the third C is why I got into BNI years ago, and that is confirmation.
Okay.
Know what you're doing. Know you know what you're doing. Become known for what you know. Once you become known for what you know, you get that confirmation from your peers, from your clients, from your referral partners in that BNI room or elsewise. That's where you truly become successful.
Yeah, because if they don't have confidence in you, they are not going to refer you at all. They may like you, but they got to have confidence. I'm going to say, wait, I'm going to send you to my biggest client? Yeah, you got to earn that.
We had a member in the room one day. She said, okay, I know exactly how I'm going to refer you. I said, all right, great. You want to test that out on me? And she walked through the story of the client that's having all the issues and the problems. And the response from my teammate was, do you want me to handle that for you? It doesn't have to be that way. Do you want me to fix that for you?
Perfect.
Matt will take care of that.
Perfect.
That was the confirmation.
They do.
She knew I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then she confirmed it.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 keys to success.
All right. So perfect timing. Hold your book up, Matt. All right. So Matt has written this book. You want to summarize this for us?
44 Pathwords to Higher Sales. The new and improved 2nd edition. Anybody can do something right once, but the key is what? The Harvey Mackay?
Yeah.
The Mackay envelope?
Okay.
The key is to get the reorder. Can you replicate it again?
Yeah.
So this debuted probably about 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I was coming off a little challenging year last year, and I just wanted to have like a gut check and go back to some of my roots. And I thought, let me dust off the book. Let me do a second version. If it's going to be new and improved, what's going to be new?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just put more lessons in there. So it's 44 Pathwords to Higher Sales. I remember specifically why I wrote it 10 years ago and then why I did the expanded edition again this year. 12 extra bonus bite lessons that I learned along the way.
And the why is very important in most everything we do. Most everything we do. All right. So, Amnon, the best way for somebody to win this book is to send email. Go ahead. Put your microphone on. You'll be able to explain it better than me. So.
Yeah, just go ahead and email and say, I'd like Matt's book. And email it to, what's your email address?
The Pitch Perfect Coach, Mike at thepitchperfectcoach.com. Or you can send it to Amnon. If you can't remember that, you can send it to Amnon. So we'll get the book to you. That is something that I think writing a book is on a lot of people's bucket lists, and they never get to it.
So I can tell you this, writing a book is super easy. Figuring out what to do with that writing is the hard part. I think I wrote the 1st edition in like 2 weeks. I wrote the 2nd edition in 2 days.
And that's without the help of AI.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. But, 10, 11 years ago, now what do you do? Like all I have is a bunch of stuff on a legal pad. Yeah, but you typed it into Microsoft Word. Okay, fun. Now it's on a disk. So that was the hard part, trying to figure out how do you self-publish? How does all that stuff work? So the 2nd edition was obviously much easier. But,
when you got into this, was part of the payoff to you was, I hope I sell a few, or I want to sell a lot, or
not at all.
If somebody buys it, they buy it?
The latter.
Okay.
It was really my brother's advice when I first was in job transition, searching for the next step, and a year or so into the credit card processing business. He said, you should write a book about all that stuff you've learned in sales over all the years. I said, yeah, but what do I know? He's like, well, you keep talking about how you got all this training and all this knowledge. So I remember it was my first year in credit card processing. I was driving down to Charlotte to set up a client. The sale was already made. I was driving down there to set him up. And I started thinking about all of that sales training. And I started thinking about the great training we had at Curtis Media, where we talked about positioning. How do you position your brand? Mm-hmm. What's the premise behind what you do? And everybody else said, well, it's price, product, promotion. That's it. It's what we learned at Curtis. It was the premise of the situation and positioning your brand amongst your competitors. But yeah, at the end of the day, people have to have some kind of proposal, some kind of pitch that they put pen to paper. You got to have poise. You can't look greedy.
Okay. I'm following you
I'm
now.
like, wow, that was like 10 words that all begin with the letter P. And I'm driving down. I got one hand on the wheel, like coffee. And I'm at that stretch of 85 where you're going through like Davidson County,
Oh, yeah.
where it's really desolate. There's like one more rest stop before you start getting into Charlotte. And I'm writing.
While you're
I'm
driving.
writing while I'm driving. And it's flowing. The thoughts are flowing. The coffee's flowing. I'm like, I got to pee, dude. This is my last rest stop over here in Davidson County. I'm like, bingo, that's it. That's the name of the book. I
Okay.
got to pee.
Yep.
Because I came up with all these words. And the real issues in sales isn't about product and price and all that stuff. It's about positioning your brand.
Mhm.
Here's the customer's cash register. Here's your advertising. Here's the customer's merchant service provider now. Here's yours. What links everything together to make that sale happen? What is the pathway to success? Well, I got a bunch of words. I got like 53 of them that all begin with the letter P. They're path words. So if you're looking for like tactics and techniques, screw that. That's not what this is about. This is about the real issues.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for a pathway to lead that next sale, I've got 44 of these path words. And then now in the second iteration, we have 12 additional bonus lessons plus the original 6 extra points.
Nice.
So this is more like, not so much a book, it's more like a guide. This is the 2 or 3 minute read at the porcelain library each morning. You know, it's little nuggets that you can just keep with you. And then obviously, so it's thick enough, you have the little note page where you can write your notes.
There
You can
you go.
take your notes there.
There you go.
Plus that's,
Was it difficult getting it physically printed?
once you figure out that there's a thing called Kindle Direct Publishing, then they did all that and then they get bought by Amazon. So it's simple. You write it, you post it, and they
Oh.
drop ship it.
Oh,
That's it.
nice.
Yep.
All right. Will there be a third edition in a couple more years once all the kids are out of the house?
Well,
Now what do I do?
this is what's fascinating. So both my wife and my insurance agent said, you know, you should have a third version.
Yeah.
Edition number 3. I still got a P, but now I got a S. And have all the words begin with the letter S. I said, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you know if there's going to be a third edition, I've got a couple more questions for you, since you know what's going to happen.
That's right. That's what the coffee does. Coffee does 2 things to you.
But really, let me
go
say
ahead.
something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everything that Matt was telling you is exactly the way it happened with me.
Oh, I believe it.
I started the business in 81. I don't even remember when I had Matt. I switched over to Matt.
Probably about 2012.
And since then, I don't think we ever had to discuss business. It all works.
Hmm?
With the bank, it
Oh,
was,
geez.
forget it.
Hippocratic oath, minimize change.
Well, and it's exactly all the steps that he's telling you. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, wow, yeah, that's how it went. That's how it went.
I believe it because I talk about this every week. The many things I've learned at BNI is one of the main ones was you got to shop local. You need the phone number to call because back in the day, our only option was call this 800 number. Here's your 16-digit code, and I'm going to talk to you on Monday in Topeka, Kansas. I'm going to talk to you on Thursday in Seattle, and neither one of you are going to really care. You're there to answer the phone. Yeah, let me see if I can help you, but you're not invested in me. You are with your clients, and you are with your clients. You just are. And so shop local, folks. There's certain people you need to have their phone number for, their cell number for, and Matt and Amnon are 2 of those people because your life can go sideways really quick if their stuff's not working. All right, so we'll come back to some business stuff. And I wrote your wife's name down, totally forgot it.
Miss Lori.
Lori. All right.
Yep. Lori, Nicholas, Christopher, Aiden.
All right.
Got
So
the
I do
whole
you have
brood.
3 kids? Yeah,
Yep.
boys. So you love asking this question to my married guest. You and Lori, how did you meet? And you both tell the story the same way.
We would. It was on the job. This was I was probably like 8 years into the Tar Heel Sports Network at the Village Companies. She had been a graphic designer for the publishing arm. And it was literally one of those, he said, she said. It was one short of the George Strait, passing a little note across the
Check
desk.
yes or no.
Check yes or no. And it was one of those things where, one of the ladies over in the graphics department said, "Hey, my coworker thinks you're neat, and would like to talk with you." I got 1,000. Like, she's interested, like she knows where I sit. Kind of
Great answer,
whatever.
yeah.
And we hit it off, and I thought, all right, we're gonna find out right away, because good decisions. You start dating people, it's decisions, right? You got to make decisions.
Yep.
Well, just like business, dating, parenting, anything. Good decisions come from good information. Bad decisions come from bad information. You got to get information. But you can't just like put somebody out there and start asking a bunch of questions. Tell me what your intent of this relationship might be and the value.
Yeah.
I said, all right, so I'm just going to put it all out there. I'm going to drive her in my little 300ZX from Chapel Hill out to Lexington for the, 104.1 WTQR country music stage at the BB&T 29th annual Lexington Barbecue Festival. So we're going to walk the streets and eat pork barbecue in Lexington, like all
Nothing
day long.
Nothing wrong with
that. And
that.
then go over to the WTQR country music stage and hear Travis Tritt do a show. I'm like, she can stand that. That's going to be a good hour, some drive out, all day on our feet, and then another hour back. If she can survive that and we hit it off, we'll know. And it's October. So we get back to my apartment over in Chapel Hill, Scarborough, thinking, I think that worked. What do we do next? Mike, would you like to come inside for some hot cocoa?
Yeah.
Because it was cold. It was October. And then
so at some point in time in that 10-hour day, did you think,
it's just like anything else, just like in business. I mean,
Yeah.
There's things you can pick up on.
So that was actually the official first date.
That was the first date.
How long did you call her the next day, or did you take that, well, we'll see, I'm busy, wait for her to call you?
I think it all went so quick. It's probably a little bit of a blur, but we dated for a year, then we're engaged for a year. And then once we got married, we had our first child within a year.
Okay.
So it all went pretty quick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. All for the best.
Tell me her maiden name was Smith or Jones.
Well, it was interesting. Her maiden name is Pauliconis. And I thought, well, that's, you don't look Greek at all. Like, I would think like the black hair, the big bushy eye, like Greek. She's like, no, Baltic, Lithuanian. I'm like, oh yeah, like Latvia, Lithuania, blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah, that's neat. That's cool. But there was connections, both like Catholic families. Her parents were from up near the Cleveland area. My parents, when they got married, went up to Cleveland, started raising everybody. And you get an idea pretty quick that that's going to be the one.
Well, I have to talk to Lori because I was born in Cleveland. My dad was born and raised there. And so after he and my mom got married and had my sister, then they moved to Cleveland. And I was born in the Salvation Army Home Hospital for Unwed Mothers. And my dad would always brag, "Hey, I got him in. I got them both in and out of there for $50." This was 1961. So
That's awesome.
So Lori did not decide to keep her name, change her name to Lori, then her maiden name, and then Yablunosky.
That would be a lot, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That wouldn't have fit anywhere,
right.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. So 1988, you enrolled at the University of Maryland. What was the plan?
Plan was to be like my older brother and go to the Naval Academy.
Ooh.
There's competition, and then there's like, Matt, come on, get a dose of reality. You're a good guy, but there's no way you're going to make it.
And how long did it take for you to believe that?
2.5 years, 6 versions of the SAT. I mean, do you want to keep going?
If you added the scores together, would you have gotten in?
Like I had so back then, the service academies, this was the late 80s. The service academies in a couple schools, maybe in the Northeast, had as a collegiate sport, lightweight football. There was a 159-pound weight. Wow, this is perfect.
Like shoulder pads and helmets, not flag football.
Like real honest to God football. Yeah.
159.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. It's been long gone. So I thought, man, I am transferring in from the University of Maryland, and the football coach says he'll have a spot for me on lightweight football. And I have like a 3.3 coming out of high school with 3 varsity letters, 1220 on my SATs, and I'm going to transfer in from a full service, full year institution at University of Maryland College Park and play lightweight football. And I still can't even get into the prep school. Like the prep school won't even take me. Like this isn't meant to be, man. You're not your brother. Be your own person. And that was a tipping point for me because once I realized to thine own self be true, Shakespeare and all that, who are you? That's when I realized, man, you got to be the best version of yourself. And instead of being like the crew cut, football player at Naval Academy and lightweight football, I become a pom-pom girl, cheerleader at Maryland.
But
completely different.
Just so everyone knows, this will tell you when Matt decides to take on something, how well he does it. He can say what he wants about being a cheerleader, but folks, he was an All-American cheerleader. So if you're going to do it, let's do it. Right. Yeah.
And it was great because when you look around, the guys on the squad, and there's 8 letters in the word MARYLAND. So we had 8 guys on varsity and like a couple others. So we probably had maybe a dozen or so guys. Half of those were former high school football players and wrestlers, just like me. They knew they weren't going to be doing that in college.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter. Right? Well, but it was great. I mean, you're there at all the games. You're on the sidelines. You're traveling.
Yeah.
And I was working in the athletic department as an intern in marketing and fundraising, development. Had some really prestigious roles within the athletic council, student government rep to athletic affairs. So it all started to come together once I realized be the best version of myself and not try and be like my brother. It's not going to be meant to be to go to an athlete. And that's what proliferated my college experience and brought me down to Chapel Hill, where literally they were building a grad program in collegiate athletics. I'm like, hi, I'm your poster child. Like, let's start this program.
That was my next question. Yeah. Why the MBA there?
Yeah. And it was actually a Master's of Arts in Phys Ed, Exercise, and Sports Science. So it wasn't through the business school at all, but it was custom made for me. I was really like the second recruited class, so to speak. It was going on while I was graduating from Maryland. So we had like 77 applicants. I think we had like 15 come down for interviews and 7 got admitted. And then I was the first to graduate in that second class. But it was ideal for me. And it was perfect because at that point, Maryland has its rivals.
Yeah.
You could say Carolina was a rival, but Carolina was what everybody kind of just looked up to all the time. So I thought, man, go down there. If I'm just as jacked about college sports and college athletics somewhere else, not named Maryland College Park, then I'll know the industry's for me. So they had a graduate curriculum coursework, plus a required master's thesis, plus a paid internship in the athletic department. I'm like, wow, that's Tom O'Brien, the triple play. Like, that's the triple play, man. Like, I'm your guy. Let's go do this. So that was the spring of '93, and then I came down the summer of '93, and I've been in the Triangle ever since. Never left.
Your first full-time job after grad school was what?
Operations manager, Tar Heel Sports Network, $18,130 with a master's degree, working 70 hours a week.
Your parents were proud, weren't they?
I had no obligation. I had no responsibilities. Like, who did I have to take care of?
Yeah, I know.
Like, it was great.
18,000. Yep, I think I made first job at the University of Texas. This would have been fall of '83. I think I made 11,000, and I'm the richest guy in the free world. I had an efficiency apartment, and if people don't know what an efficiency is, you walk into your bedroom, your kitchen's right next to it. That's what an efficiency is. I'm single. I'm with you. Like you said, I don't need anything anyways.
They call those studio apartments in Manhattan now for $3,000 a month.
$3,000.
But that was great. I mean, I was blessed. I mean, think about it. Like, one of the most iconic heritage collegiate brands, and you're selling that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
NASCAR, pure free market capitalism. And look at the time of that.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Like, timing was great.
Yep.
Timing was horrible.
Yep.
So I got hired on at Motor Racing Network in the fall of '99. No, fall of 2000.
Okay.
November, Christmas time. A lot of changes in sport. They just did the big TV rights thing with Fox. Evernham was coming into the sport with Dodge. Like, totally everything was coming in brand new. New corporate sponsors, naming rights to the Winston series, all that. Super big time for change. I've been going after that job for 2 years. Finally got it. Stayed employed in it for a year and a half. Yep. And within 2 months of me getting hired, That's when tragedy hit at Daytona and turn 3.
I was there.
And that everything changed.
When,
I was going to be there. They said, this is your first season. It's going to be such a whirlwind. You're going to get lost. Just hold for it in the Charlotte office. We'll see you in Rockingham the next week. I show up to Rockingham and I see Kevin Harvick up there with Childress wearing the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet number 29. Wow. What just happened?
Yeah, so that's when Dale Earnhardt died in Daytona, and I was working at Daytona there, and we're in Victory Lane. He wasn't going to win the race. Michael Waltrip ended up winning. Earnhardt wrecked in turn 3, and we're sitting in Victory Lane and kind of quiet. And we're waiting. Okay. And then all of a sudden, somebody said, no radios. And it's like we just looked at each other and went, ooh. And, yeah, that did change everything for the sport.
Marty Smith tells a great story about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he appeared on a Like a Farmer podcast.
Okay.
He was talking about it.
Yeah. So a normal week for you right now as the president and owner of Retained Revenue is how often?
Fluid.
Okay. So how much is marketing on average? How much is marketing? How much is admin? How much is what? What's a normal, an average week for you?
Marketing is 100% or 0%, depending on how you look at it, because every action I do has a result and a consequence, which is position. Admin, there's a lot to it, and that's how I win all my clients. Like, I'll do all the heavy lifting on the back end. I'll do all the paperwork. I'll do all the troubleshooting. I'll do all the installs. Selling is really a very small portion of that. I'm always working the referrals. I'm always going out cold calling. I'm always knocking on those doors, trying to bring in the business. You know, ideally, 50% selling, 50% administration. If you forget to support your clients, then all you're going to be doing is churning and burning and losing.
The client, I know you have several clients that have sent new clients to you. Okay. How many are we, like one person has been with you a good long time and they've sent you 4, 5? You have a couple of people? Because I know once, because I know once they hire you, they're going to think, I didn't see it going this good. Just because I've known you long enough. It's like just not only the credit card processing you bring to them, but just the knowledge of business. Because I know you have like, hey, Mike, while we're finishing this up, have you thought about this? Not to get in their business, but just it's a connecting thought.
Yeah. You can never overserve an existing client. Now, there's a balance, just like anything else in life, right? Like some clients don't want to be handled, don't want to be touched. Leave it alone. You'll know when I need you. Outside of that, I know you're there. Stay out of my world. Like I don't have enough going on. And there's others that need that confident reinforcement all the time, constantly, which is fine. You know, some of the clients that I spend a majority of time are probably my least profitable clients, but I'll still do it because they refer the heck out.
Yep.
And while I might not make as much earnings every month on their services, who knows what they could bring me next month. The ones you get nervous about are the ones where you make a lot of money and you never hear from them.
Who could they be talking to? Yeah.
Or that they see the value.
Yeah. Interesting. But you're right, with the clients, you never, and that's one of the beauties of just meeting people. And I do in my BNI training, I hammer this home. For those of you who've never been to a BNI meeting, the first 15 minutes is open networking where we're seeing each other again. Matt and I have been in the chapter for 2 years. We're kind of catching up something. Amnon's a visitor. He walks in, our chance to meet him and talk to him. And the business curiosity is just average at best. The people, like, all these folks are literally walking into the place you're in, and you can't give me 38 seconds to come over and say hi to me. What gives?
Right.
But at the end of the day, you could be Miller Lawson, second generation insurance company owner. Dad started, both his brothers in it, knows everybody in town, played football at State, and you're not even curious to find out if that's who he is? I just don't get it.
Right. So you used another C word in there, curiosity.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And
that's what this show's all about.
Well, okay, so this is show number 300.
300.
You know what the Roman numerals for 300 are?
I'll
tell you the answer.
MMM? No.
CCC.
Oh, C's 100. That's right.
So we talked about the 3 keys to success, right? Competence,
confirmation. I wrote them down, yeah.
So I'm sitting there at my son's graduation down at UNC Wilmington, and Chancellor Vitelli gives his 3 steps to success, the chancellor, during the graduations. And he said they all begin with the letter C. And then
Yes,
that puts me
yes.
out, I got this one.
Son, are you still listening?
And it was fascinating. He said, the truly successful will always be curious in nature. What could the future look like? What can be achieved? What's around the corner? Everything is limitless. You don't have the curiosity to wonder what if, then there will be no what.
Yep.
But curiosity without courage to go take the steps to pursue the unknown. If you don't have the courage to take those steps, take the actions to go pursue the unknown, to peek what's around the corner, not knowing what could happen, that's critical.
Okay.
So you got to be curious. You got to push the envelope. What could be? What's the potential? What if? And by God, I have the chops, another C. Like, I have the courage to go out and pursue that. Don't know what's going to happen. I'll probably take some bullets along the way, but it'll all be in the world of learning. I don't have the courage. But it ain't about you, bro. What's BNI all about?
Others.
Community.
Yep.
Community, another C word.
Yep.
If you don't have that last C, which is the surrounding community, the connections to help propel you towards that courageous pursuit of curiosity, without the connections of the community, your cohort. That's why I thought CCC, that's the Roman numerals for Mike's 300th show.
There you go.
We're going to talk about the letter C's all day long. The book is about the letter P's. This conversation here is about the letter C. So when Chancellor Vitelli talked about that, I'm like, wow, this is, Nick, do you hear that? Like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we talk about.
Yeah. Mine is, I know what my life is like. I don't know. I know what, like, well, I'm no longer middle-aged now. I'll be 65 in a couple of 12 days, I think. So I know that, but everybody I have on every week is somebody completely, they're male, female, young, old, black, white, foreign, domestic, whatever. There's a story there, and I love hearing those, and all the people that have come through here. Kenny Bollinger used to be in your chapter, still one of the best stories. Was working in New York City, missed his train, got on the next train because that was the only other option, and he sees this lady standing there. He's like, oh. So the next day, he purposely missed his train, hoping she was on the other train, and she was. Okay? Love that story. Joe Navarra. He and his buddy had a paper route. I always mix up Philadelphia and New Jersey. You can laugh if you want, but it's one of those cities. I can't remember.
Well, isn't Southern Jersey part of Philadelphia?
It is,
like,
yeah.
So,
but Joe was, on years ago, but I still remind him of this. He and his buddy started a paper route, high school, to make money so they could go stand outside 7-Eleven and get an old guy to go in there and buy him beer. That's why they made their money.
Was it beer or was it the Bartles and James wine coolers?
Who knows? He said beer. Yeah, he said beer. And so one day it was a hot afternoon because they had the afternoon route, and he and his buddy had some beer, and they saw a grassy area, and they just kind of laid down and fell asleep because,
Yeah.
And their
beer can have that happen when you're young.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, their supervisor drove by and fired them on the spot.
Right.
But that's what brings me back here every Monday is, what's the story? There's a guy, I won't mention him because I don't know if he wants to tell the story again, but he and his wife, I could always ask him, how'd you meet? And they both worked at a restaurant, and let's just say they would casually meet up with each other in the ice freezer, in the cooler.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and how people got started.
Great way to stay cold when the passions get hot.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So curiosity in the credit card world. What was second choice? If you didn't do credit cards, what would you have done?
There wasn't a second choice.
Okay. I like that even better. That puts a little pressure on.
Right.
A little more focus on
there wasn't.
On the first choice.
The idea of getting into the credit card processing world came back from suggestions from my wife because I lost my job. Yeah, I lost my job. It was right around now. It was May, I can tell you, it was May the 17th was my last day on the job at Courtesy.
That was yesterday.
That was in 2011, so that was yesterday. And then Memorial Day weekend was basically my exit.
That was 15
And
years ago
I know, right?
yesterday.
And
Man.
then we're getting into the end of the summer. Like our third child's going to be born in any moment. She's like, "You have a plan, right? Like, please tell me that there's, light at the end of the tunnel." I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And it was fascinating because she said, "Well, why don't you just talk to those that know you best?" And I thought, well, that's kind of what I've been doing. There's 40 jobs out there I could take tomorrow, but I'm going to need such a big salary with no experience if I move into a different sales role. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. The pressure is going to be on God. And I went for a jog. I'm not a real runner, but I thought, let me break a sweat, get the blood flowing. I'll have some clear thoughts. And I had more questions than answers after I went for that run. I'm like, this was fruitless.
No,
The only thing I do know,
it wasn't.
The only thing I do know is I will never ever be put in position to lose my job, get downside, fired, let go, ever again. And the only way that happens, again, we talked earlier on the show, is to work for yourself. And if you're a real salesperson, that means you work for clients. So what I did in a very courageous and curious way, I went back to a lot of my former radio clients and said, hey, tell me what you think I should do. Pour me that cup of coffee. Black, straight up. No cream, no sugar. What am I good at? What am I weak at? Areas I should consider, areas I should avoid. I'm open to suggestion. Ideally sooner than later. And then one of them said, you should get into credit card processing. Here's why. But I kind of believe if you have a backup plan, then you're never going to give your first plan full
Heard that a couple of months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And it's all, again, that's what the beauty of the show is. The subtitle of the show is, so how do we get here? And
Right.
everybody's different paths.
Everybody has a different story.
Well,
I got here out of necessity.
Exactly. Some like you is like, oh, I better make a decision pretty quick. And others
We got
like,
4 dependents and no job, so that's fine. Yeah.
And looking back on it, was Lori ever involved in the business?
No.
Okay.
She gave me the support I needed to get that launch with that conversation.
Cool. Good stuff. All right, folks. Retainrevenue.com.
Retainrevenue.com.
All right. If you have a business, Matt can work with you. How many clients do you have out of the state of North Carolina?
Enough to keep me busy, but not so much that I'm not hungry.
There you go. All right. So he can work with you wherever you are. Don't worry about that. And what you've heard for the last hour is what you're going to get and then some. So you will be in good hands. One last tip for somebody getting into their own business, regardless if it's sales or not, just getting into their own business. What's 1 or 2 things they need to have in place or be prepared to deal with to make it through the first month, first 6 months, anything like that?
If you're starting your own business, then you ultimately need to know that you work for your clients. So if you can have the courageous understanding of that, because no matter what happens, you still have that ability to sell yourself. And that's what I stay grounded in. So I'm an independent. So I have all these different carriers I can write coverage through, processing through. But I don't work for them and they don't work for me. They provide me the tools. But I know I work for my clients, which is very, very liberating when you get that idea, because then you think, well, that's complete freedom. As long as I know that I'm working for my clients, no matter what that is, the clients will show you the value. Because if you're thinking about starting your own business, then that means you've been looking for the next thing, which means you've been interviewing for jobs. And when you interview for jobs, what am I going to get paid versus what are the expectations? Well, when you go to start your own business, it's not what am I going to get paid, what are the expectations? The expectations are I'm going to have to work very, very hard with an uncertain income. Well, that's about as pure as you can get, man.
Yep.
That should always be the mentality.
Yep. 100% commission is hard day work, man.
But that's why people do it.
I know, because you have the ability to fish when your client calls you on a Thursday morning or Wednesday morning.
And it's beautiful when the biggest bass you ever caught was on the private pond of one of your clients.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Man,
right.
It's
So you can have both.
All about relationships, man. All right. So we've been putting Matt's phone number up on the screen here. If you or someone in your inner circle has a business that requires credit cards, you got to call Matt. He'll talk you through a couple things. Not going to charge you anything. Just answer a couple questions, talk a few things, see if it's a right fit. But again, that's a business line. you should be maximizing every revenue stream you have in your business.
Correct.
It's like, well, this bank called, they're nice, I'm just going to pay their 2.8 or whatever it is, knowing full
Right.
well.
So I'm going to hit that last word that you said as we close when you talked about it's all about relationships. That's one of the things I learned at Curtis Media. It ain't about the relationships. Wow, that's a hard end to the show. It ain't about the relationships. The relationships are what make the business fun. Between you and a client, it's about the relatedness.
Okay.
Here's my goal. Here's my situation. Here's my problem. Here's my need. What is your solution? As long as I am related to their goal as the client, not mine. Everybody knows what your goal is, to make money and sign clients. Well, good. It ain't about you. It's about the client. So as long as you become related to the need of the client, I have plenty of clients that value me to the end of the earth. I'm not going to go bass fishing with them. I'm not going to talk about the head football coaching situation over at, North State University or what my kid said to me the other day or what church they go to. But we have the relatedness. The relationships are what make it fun. The relatedness is what makes it happen.
Excellent. And this is why you need to call Matt, folks. He will help you with all that. So I very much appreciate you being on the 300 show.
Congratulations on 300.
Yep. You were the only call. You were the only call. If you weren't going to make it, I was going to go like, all right, can you be there Tuesday? Let's do it Tuesday. So, no, you've been a very good friend. You answer all my calls and you answer all my questions, and that is very much appreciated.
Yep. Do it anytime.
Yep, very much appreciated. All right, folks, we'll see everybody next time on Capital to the Coast BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.